Welcome to another episode of Smash JT. There is a gigantic secret that YouTube is keeping when it comes to COPPA that they do not want you to know about. And in this episode, we're going to unveil that and talk a little bit about where YouTube has misstepped along the way and where the FTC has also made some gigantic errors. For lack of a better word, there's been a whistleblower in my private messages that wants to remain anonymous but has sent me some pretty damning information about YouTube and why they're going down the road they are when it comes to COPPA. Now, everyone might look at this and be upset at the FTC and them going after YouTube and how YouTube is mismanaging this to the death, but there are some things that YouTube is doing that are extremely questionable as well. The biggest thing in everything being the mixed audience exception, which, oh by the way, Team YouTube on Twitter will not talk about. No matter how many people tag them and ask them about it, no matter what people say, they have their lips zipped. They don't want to open that can of worms because if people find out about this, if word gets out, if you share videos that talk about this, people are gonna start asking some serious questions to YouTube. So let's back up a little bit. What is the mixed audience exception? This is actually written in the rules from the FTC regarding COPPA on something platforms are allowed to tackle. They are allowed to categorize channels as mixed audiences. Instead of saying kids or adults and you have to pick one or the other, and if you pick kids you're basically dooming your video's success. There's going to be no chance for it to get any kind of traction. And if you pick adult but then somebody decides that it actually is kids, it's out of your control, then you as a content creator are somehow in trouble for that. We'll come back to that, but that's where we're at right now when it comes to COPPA and YouTube. The category that YouTube has left out by omission on purpose is the mixed audience, where it could be for kids, it could be for adults, it could be basically for anyone, and that's something that could flourish. But YouTube has chosen not to give that option. Why is that though? Because on the surface, you would think that YouTube would want to help the creators and assist the FTC with COPPA. Why would they leave out something that is allowed by COPPA? Look, the answer to every question that doesn't make sense when it comes to YouTube is money. That is why they left it out. If creators were allowed to choose that option, it would place the onus back on YouTube, and they don't want that. So instead, they are wiping their hands clean from this and throwing it on the creators for them to deal with it. Legal issues, problems, troubles, financial risks, everything you can think of, YouTube is passing the buck. But here's the thing that YouTube keeps forgetting to mention with this, is also the thing that the FTC, which I said has made few mistakes, is failing to mention as well. The purpose of COPPA is to stop data collection on kids. Once again, as I've spoken about in my previous videos on COPPA, this has nothing to do at all with content creators. Like, at all. Just the idea that YouTube is trying to pass the buck on COPPA to the creators is laughable. There is nothing creators can do to hold information, to collect data on kids, to do any sort of marketing directed to them. This, the way YouTube has set it up, is so that they can point the finger at the creators and say, they chose this and we collect the data on things, so if they choose this, this is on them because they are telling us to collect the data, and because of that, that's on the creator. No, you can't do that. You cannot have your cake and eat it too. If YouTube were to do the right thing, which they've shown time and time again not to do unless you consider making as much money as possible the right thing, screw humanity, screw politics, screw the right thing for how you should treat one another. If it has to do with money, Google, parent company of YouTube, will go for the money every single time. And this right here is proof of that. If YouTube were to enact that checkbox for people to do the mixed audience, then they would have the onus placed back on them. Then the FTC could come at them. They would open the doors for them to be questioned about how it all works, and YouTube doesn't want that. They paid their $170 million fine to the FTC and don't want to pay anything else. So this is them throwing it onto the creators. There are a number of things YouTube could do to justify adding this mixed audience exception checkmark box, but in doing so, the FTC is going to come after them. YouTube is not dumb by any means. They might make dumb decisions that face outward, but internally, they make a lot of smart decisions when it comes to making money. And they know the next step down the road, if they were to enact that checkmark box for the mixed audience exception, the FTC would come to them and say, okay, great, now you got that box, people are checking that. What we'd like you to do is make it so people have to be signed in and that they have to verify their age so that if they're ever going to be watching videos, they always have to be signed in. Which in turn, by doing so, cuts out a gigantic portion of the viewing audience. There are a lot of viewers out there that view YouTube that don't have a Google account, that don't sign in when they watch it, that don't care about any of that stuff, and they will not go through the extra steps that it takes to verify themselves every single time they want to watch a video, or at least have themselves logged into the device that they'll be using to watch the videos. This is what YouTube is trying to avoid. They don't want to lose all those views, because views for YouTube means money. And the less views the platform gets, the less they're making at the end of the day. So this, the way YouTube has decided it, is they don't want to have anything to do with COPPA anymore, and they're throwing it on the creators. But once again, creators will never collect data, will never have any part in cookie collection and information sharing or anything like that whatsoever. And the FTC should know better.
So the analogy that I think of, imperfect, is the expression about shooting fish in a barrel. And YouTube is the barrel, and the content creators are the fish.
Clearly they don't, with comments like that. If they are going to be saying things along the lines of, the creators are fish in the barrel, these are people that we are going after now, and we'll be able to find them upwards of $42,000. No, you won't. No, you won't. You don't have the authority. The US government, the FTC, would be completely overstepping their bounds coming after creators that are uploading content. They are not the culprits. They aren't the bad guys. They aren't the people that are breaking COPPA guidelines. It all goes back to the platform. YouTube doesn't want people to know that, which is why they're perfectly fine with paying this fine and then moving forward saying the creators are now at risk, because they don't want the truth to get out there. Ironically, in the ever-changing landscape of YouTube, last year we were being told that we can't make content for adults because it will be demonetized because of the adpocalypse. Now we're being told we can't make content that could be considered directed for children because COPPA would affect us and we'd get liable for a $42,000 fine. Now YouTube is telling us that they're working on getting advertisements on mature content for R-rated videos and things like this. YouTube can't make up their mind. They want to make as much money as possible and skirt the laws whenever they can. This is something that Susan Wojcicki, or however you say her last name, the CEO of YouTube, the person in charge of all the decisions, should be extremely fearful for her job right now. But judging by how she's acting and reacting, she's not. Which makes me wonder about the politic and hierarchy levels at YouTube and Google, and how she's even in the position she's in the first place. Maybe it's just as simple as Google is making gobs and gobs of money off of YouTube right now, and as long as that cash flow keeps coming through, they're not going to be pointing the finger at her. But I'm here to tell you guys, if this COPPA thing gets attention the way it should, and people start pointing fingers where they should be pointed, Google's going to be doing a lot of internal investigations and most likely changing who's in charge there. Anyways, that's where we find ourselves right now with the COPPA situation. Do not be afraid. If you are a content creator, I feel like there are a lot of content creators out there that may be overblowing how COPPA is going to affect content creators in general. It is something concerning. I don't want to make it seem like it's not important, because it absolutely is. But at the same time, until the dominoes actually start falling, it's not really something we need to worry about, because I think cooler heads are going to prevail and the pressure's going to fall right back on YouTube. That's where I'm going to leave this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and as always, you stay smashing.
Smash,